Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Down to Earth Astronomy and Elite Dangerous. Frontier recently held 2 live streams where they showcased some of the upcoming features in the 2.3 update, and this video is going to be a quick overview of some of these features, just to show you what you can expect in the next update. If you want to see the live streams in their full length, they are available on the Frontier YouTube channel, so you can go over there and you can watch the live streams in their full length. But if you just want the too long didn't watch version, this is it. So the first thing they showcased, that was the Holo Me, or the character creator. And the idea behind this is that the character you actually see in the cockpit is not your physical character, it's a hologram representing your character. And that of course means that you can at any point change the appearance of that hologram. That means you don't have to go to a station or anywhere special. As long as you're inside your ship, you can change the appearance of your character. That means you cannot do it from the SRV, but anywhere else you should be able to do it. Now the characters themselves I think look very, very good, very realistic, and there's a lot of details and there's a lot of different sliders and buttons and things you can tweak. So to prevent people from having to spend hours and hours to get what they want, they made, it looks like there's going to be a lot of presets. We're talking 40, maybe 50 different presets that you can use as a base to work out. So you can hopefully find a preset that's fairly close to what you want, and then you can tweak it from there. So you don't have to build everything from scratch, but of course you can do that if you want, and you want to spend the time doing it. For each individual component in your character, they also made a randomizer, so you can actually randomize. So if you want to change the shape of the nose, you can just randomize the nose until you get something that's fairly close to what you want, and then do the fine adjustments later on. This makes it pretty easy and fairly quickly to actually get very close to get the look on your character that you want. They also implemented a lot of features that you don't normally see in character creators like this in other games. That includes an asymmetric head, meaning there's a slider somewhere where you can just change how asymmetric the head could be. That means that the nose might be slightly askew. Maybe one ear will be slightly larger, will be flapping out a bit more, I don't know. But they're changing the whole face, so it's a little asymmetric to make the characters look a little bit more realistic, instead of the 2 left and right sides of the face being a complete mirror of each other. Of course, you can have put all kinds of battle scars, different kinds of hairstyles, hair colors. But a neat thing is that you can also have mixed eye colors, means you don't have to have the same eye color at each eye. So, for instance, they showcased at the stream that you could put like a cyborg or a cybernetic eye if your characters had its eye damage, for instance. The aging algorithm looks very good, and I was actually very impressed with that. That's actually the thing about the whole character creator that I was the most impressed with. They do have these face types, I think they called them, that are kind of, it's the base shape of your face, and they also come with slight age differences, so the age slider will be slightly different depending on the face type you've chosen. But in general, they can make your character look very, very young. I've seen characters from Live where I would expect them to be in their early 20s, maybe even their teens, all the way up to characters being, I would say, around 70, 80 years old. From the aging that we expect today, at least. So again, that's very good, and I think it's great to see that they've done at least the aging algorithm. That looks very, very good. You can also change colors on this spacesuit, and there will be micropayments where you can pay to get special spacesuits with different colors. The one they have right now are very basic; they're just a single color. So if you want special patterns or I don't know what they're going to make. Maybe they're going to do something like for Christmas or other holidays, where you can buy special space suits for your character. And I would expect that in the future there will be other accessories, maybe like glasses, and other things that you can use to customize your character, available in the store. But so keep that in mind. One complaint though is when you look at the characters in the full body view, the heads look a little on the large side compared to the body. I mean, some of the at some point when they showed the full body, I mean, the head looked just too big for the body. I mean, I know you can change the size of the body, So maybe they just haven't adjusted that yet, and maybe that's something that they will adjust later. I mean, remember, this is pre-beta, so this is a very, very early stage of development, but I hope that's something they will fix, because at the moment I think the hedge looks a little bit too big. The next thing they showcased was the new camera suite. At the moment we have the debug camera, and if you don't know how to access that, that's Control-Alt-Space. That will put you into a debug mode where you can fly the camera around your ship and you can have a look at your ship. And if you've seen some of my my previous videos, I actually do use that sometimes. But again, it's very fiddly and to be honest, not very good. And again, it is meant to be a debug camera. But you can of course use it for video creating. But they're going to implement a full camera suite, meaning you can now get way more control over your camera. I'm not going to go into too much detail with this. I suspect that for the average player, this is something you're going to play around with for maybe a half an hour, and that's probably going to be it. But for a content creator like myself, this is just absolutely beautiful, because that means you can get much more cinematic shots of the game, which is nice, which is hopefully going to make more interesting and better looking videos for you guys. But anyway, some of the features they have implemented in the new camera suite is they have, of course, increased the distance you can go from your ship. Right now, you can only go out to a range where you can just fit your ship inside your field of view, but you'll now be able to go, I think, all the way out to 200 meters. You're going to get far, far away from your ship. And you can also, from the camera suite, you can toggle between camera mode and ship mode. So when you're in camera mode, you can move the camera around and position it as you want. And once you go into ship mode, your camera will then be in that position. And then you can begin to actually navigate your ship, and you will have access to every single control that you do while you're inside the ship. At least that you have a shortcut for on your keyboard or HOTA or whatever you're using to control your ship. Of course, in the camera mode, you will not have your head-up displays. You will not be able to see your shield or your aiming reticle or how your pips are distributed, or your any panels or anything from the camera mode, but you will be able to control your ship, because of course this is meant for video creating. You can also do stuff like you can attach cameras to the world, so the camera will stay in position compared to the rest of the world, and you can then see the ship move by, or you can lock the camera to the ship, so it will have like a chase cam that will follow the ship, and you can both lock the camera to the ship rotation, or you can unlock it from the ship rotation. Lots of cool features they showed. They had you could put like a blur on it, so you can have like a field of view, with the depth of field. So how narrow can you focus with the camera at once? Is the background blurry and the foreground is sharp, or is everything sharp? And so you can do a lot to make very beautiful effects, and something that I expect will be used a lot by other content creators. I'm looking very much forward to see what people are gonna come up with this. And it does have other implementations, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. Because the next feature they showcased was from the second live stream, and that is of course multi-crew, one of the absolute biggest additions to the game that's coming with this update. That of course allows you to play with your friends in the same ship, and you can take different roles on board your ship. And just to be clear, that doesn't mean that your big ships cannot be piloted by one person. It just means that you can give control of some part of your ship to other players. And that can both be friends, or it can just be random players. You can just look for random players that will join your ship. You can join another ship from anywhere in the game. So even though your ship is at the other end of the galaxy and you're just lying there next to some alien planet, you can be instantly transported to a friend's ship, and you can play along there if you want to play with him for an hour or two. And as soon as you end the session, you will just be moved back to your old ship. That of course means that if you're playing with random people, also if you're playing with your friends for that matter, you have the ability to kick people at any point during the session. Because if you have people on board your ship, you don't want them to be there anymore, you can just kick them as long as you are the owner of the ship, of course. Once you start a multi-captain or a multi-commander session, you will have the opportunity to choose which kind of session it is. So for instance, if you choose bounty hunting, if people do something illegal, if you take a crew member on board and they do something illegal, they will, I think, first get a warning, and next time they will be automatically kicked from your ship to prevent people from going on board your ships and then just starting shooting up the local faction and ruining your standings or something like that. And the same thing, of course, goes if you are the captain and you have people on board your ship and you are in a bounty hunting session and you do something illegal, for instance. Well, then the other player will also get a warning that you're doing something illegal, and then if you do it again, they will automatically be moved from your ship so they don't get any bounty. Because both bounties and credits are now shared amongst everybody in the ship. And that not shared in as you divide it. No, everybody will get the full payment from the ship. So if you see a ship that you would normally get, let's say 200,000 for killing, you now have 2 of your friends on board and you kill that ship, you will get 200,000 credits each. So you don't lose anything. This should, they do a lot to encourage people. This should only be a benefit to have more people. One of the benefits is that you will get access to as extra pip, or the crew members will have 1 pip that they can distribute in your ship, additional to the 6 pips you already have. That's the energy thing you move around from your engines to your shields and to your weapons. You currently have 6 pips that you can move around, and you will get 1 extra for each crew member, and those crew members then have control over that pip where they want to put it. Meaning you can actually have 2 categories fully fitted with 4 pips in each, if you have 2 crew members on board. Going back to the session types they showcased was bounty hunting, pirating, mining, smuggling, exploration. And there will be more types of session, and they've said they implemented it in that way that they can easily, without too big of a client update, they can easily implement other types of sessions fairly quickly as the community, I think, ask for them. So that's pretty good. Once you have people on board your ship, they will be able to take 1 of 2 positions. They can either take the gunner role, or they can take the fighter role. Now, if they take the fighter role, they work much in the same way as an NPC crew that you have on board your ship, where they can take the fighter, they can go out and they can then fly around your ship and help you kill people in the fighter. But you can actually also have an NPC outside at the same time. So that means you can have up to 2 fighters, and actually if you have, I think, 2 fighter bases, you should be able to actually fit, if you have 3 fighters on board, you should have 2 people at the fighter position at the same time, including the NPC, meaning you can have 3 fighters in space at any given time. Which is not it's not too bad. That's going to drastically increase the potential damage output that you're going to get. If you feel like you want to do that, of course. The other role is the role of the gunner. Now, the gunner will take control of any turreted weapons, and only turreted weapons. You still, as the commander of the ship, keep control of the navigation with the ship, jumping and shooting your gimbaled and fixed weapons, and missiles as well, I believe. But as a gunner, you take control of all turreted weapons, and only 1 gunner can be at the ship at any given time, as far as I understand. And you will also gain control over all scanners. That goes with kill wound scanners, wake scanners, limpet controllers as well, I think. So you'll be able to control all these, and once you are in the gunner position, you will get a third-person view of the ship, so you can spin around and move the turrets around. That, of course, also means you're going to have a 360 view where you can use the scanners, meaning no longer do you have to point your ship towards an enemy to actually maybe run a kill warn scanner on them. So if you're in a rest site and you want to find the next target, it could be useful to have a gunner on board who can just spin the camera around and scan different opponents to find the most valuable target around you, and you can then turn your ship around to actually face the enemy. And another thing, which I think is absolutely huge, and it was only mentioned just as a small side comment, is that they're going to implement turreted mining lasers. And when I heard that, I had to pause the video and go back and watch it again, because did they really say turreted mining lasers? And yeah, they did. And that actually means that if you have a friend on board in a mining ship with turreted mining lasers, he will have control over the limpets and the turreted mining lasers, meaning you can just basically sit and let him do all the work. And the only thing you have to do is move around. I'm not really sure if that is going to be effective, or this is going to increase the mining yield to make it effective for 2 people to do this. But I guess, I mean, if your friend is at the other end of the galaxy and you just want to mine for a little bit together, you could put him into that seat. I don't think that's something that's going to be used too much, but it's good to see that they are actually focusing on the miners, because I think that's an area of Elite that haven't really received that much love in the last many patches, because it is really underwhelming at the moment. But anyway, I think that's the quick overview of the different features. Another thing that I almost forgot, ship naming. They don't really, I don't think they really mentioned it, but you can see on some of the footage in the live stream that they do actually have the ship named. So yeah, you should also be able to name your ship, which is absolutely wonderful. Small thing, but something I really feel that is gonna add a lot to the game, especially if we have more of the same type of ship. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this video informative. If you did, give it a like down below. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, I will see you guys in space.